Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the college football preview show here on the channel. I'm not going to go too much into last week as a callback, but if there's stuff to talk about in these games that we're previewing for this week that I think is good to know from last week, then I'll let you know. But not so much of a review as it is a preview. So we're not going to touch on NFL this week. It's just week one, and I care primarily way more about college football. So maybe as the season goes on, we'll get into the NFL, but we'll take it as it comes. So jumping into the games here, our first game is BYU at SMU, and this is on Friday night, so a good way to ease into the weekend. I think that these games where it's cross conferences and people who don't usually play each other can be interesting. Obviously, BYU is not in a good-looking spot, being an 11.5-point underdog, but hopefully this game is fun to watch. I definitely don't think BYU is going to be doing all that great this season, so we'll see. I mean, maybe this will start. The non-conference will be interesting because we know kind of how they will do in the Big 12. So moving on to our Saturday morning game, Oklahoma State is hosting Arkansas, and I think this will be a really interesting game. Oklahoma State's favored by a little over a touchdown, which is an interesting number, but they were great last year. Oklahoma State was great last week. Ollie Gordon, their running back, was really showing off, and I'm more confident in Oklahoma State this season right now than I was a week ago. So that's promising, and if they can take care of business against Arkansas, this will be a really good look for the Big 12, who's kind of had a very mid week one, I'd say. So at the same time, Kansas State is going to Tulane. Tulane, I love the Green Wave, kind of the underdog story that they've been the last couple of years. Kansas State, obviously a favorite. I think they will definitely win this game, although it won't be as easy as any of these week one games were. So I hope this is an interesting game. Avery Johnson, K-State's quarterback, will be someone to watch. A lot of hype and potential, but we'll see how he does throughout the season. I think it should be a good game to watch, though. Another 11 a.m. game, Pitt at Cincinnati. Two teams I still don't know much about, so I can't really talk too much on them. I know Cincinnati looked good week one, but I'm not buying stock in them. They're not a favorite of mine. Only a 2-point favorite roughly in this game, pretty much a toss-up. They're only favored in the spread because it's a home game for them, so really a toss-up. I don't know how either of these teams really are, if they're going to be all defense, all offense, and if this is going to be a track meet or a punching fest. So, could be interesting, but I think there's a lot of better games to watch at 11 a.m. Now, my big game, the one I care about, Iowa State versus the Hawkeyes, the Cy-Hawk game. So, it's in Iowa City, unfortunately, I won't be going to it, but 3-point favorite is Iowa. I think this is kind of a toss-up. It really depends on a lot of different things. Iowa looked good in week one. Their quarterback looked good for the first time in years. Iowa State's quarterback looked good, but there are issues on the defense. Our captain lineman on the defense got injured with what looked like a season-ending injury. He got an MRI. I haven't heard the conclusion of that, but it'll be interesting. There were some gutsy plays by Iowa State in week one that if they were made against the Hawkeyes, I think they would not go in our favor. There would be some more interceptions. But Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht played pretty much lights out after the first 3 drives, so it'll be interesting. This game's always an interesting one. Hopefully Iowa State can take it to them in their own home, but we'll see. It'll definitely be a really exciting game. I'll be watching it. I'll be glued to the TV, so if you want to watch a really good rivalry game in week 2, definitely check this one out. For our next game, we got 2 Big 12 teams. It is not a conference game, so a non-conference game between 2 conference opponents. Confusing. Baylor, not that great. Utah has a good chance to win the entire conference this year. I don't think there's too much to talk about with this game. It's at 2:30. Go watch the Cy-Hawk game. That's all I got to say. I know there's a Texas and Michigan game going on, but I don't know what time that's on. Sam Houston at UCF. Again, not much to talk about with this one. UCF plays super well at home, and Sam Houston is not, no disrespect to them, but they're not in a Big 12 caliber team, so the 22-point spread should indicate enough. Kansas at Illinois, so I don't like Kansas by principle, but I dislike Illinois even more due to some roots I have, and I think it would be cool. I always like when Big 12 teams play Illinois, so in a way I have a reason to watch them and root against them. But I think this should be a decent game. I don't know too much about Illinois. I know Kansas is annoying, and yeah, not too much to analyze there. Colorado at Nebraska. Colorado is going to get destroyed, I think. I very much dislike Colorado, like I mentioned last week if you watched that video. I think Coach Prime, excuse me, I think Coach Prime is not on his rocker anymore, and he's making some questionable decisions, like not just kneeling it at the end of the game, and it's one of those things where I don't know how long Travis Hunter, who plays every snap of the game, can go. Their quarterback is otherworldly, like top 3 in the country probably, but then also you have an offensive line issue where if your quarterback doesn't sling it out in 2 seconds, he's going to get sacked. So they've got some good parts and they've got some bad parts, and there's nothing really in the middle. So I will always root against them. I hate Nebraska, but I'm just not going to watch this game. That screen was very bright. I'm sorry. Okay, well, it's Houston at Oklahoma. Houston sucks. Oklahoma's really good. As much as I hate them, that's another game that there's not much to talk about. I don't know why that page didn't load. I'm sorry for the flashbang. Texas Tech at Washington State. Texas Tech was the most disappointing thing that came out of this last weekend. They won by 1 point in overtime to Abilene Christian, which is almost like a high school team compared to what Texas Tech should be. And it came down to Abilene Christian going for a 2-point conversion and not converting, and that's why Texas Tech won. Very embarrassing for them, and I'm pretty much sold all my hope for them this season already. But, Washington State is a very entertaining team at the very least, so I hope at least this game is good. It's at 9 p.m. I think the most exciting game to watch at 9 p.m. that I'm aware of. So, there's that. Northern Arizona at Arizona. As you can see, there's not even a line out for this, which should lead everybody to believe that Arizona is going to handle business. Both the Arizona schools looked pretty good this past weekend, so not much to talk about there. Mississippi State at Arizona State. Again, Arizona State really good this last weekend. I don't know much about Mississippi State, but this is a late night game, so if you want football on in the background as you fall asleep or do whatever, it could be a good game. But I think Arizona State should be fine. It's a 6-point spread, but I think they can win by like 7 to 10 points personally. And then we had a request to start including Michigan State into this video, so for the first little while, my knowledge is going to be very bare bones. I don't know much about Michigan State at all, so I apologize. I know even less about Maryland. Maybe once Michigan State starts playing some teams that I have more knowledge on, I can speak on it more. But this game isn't looking like it's going to go well for them. 8.5 to 9.5 point underdogs, especially going into Maryland. I know from what I've heard, going to Maryland is difficult. So it seems like a neat stadium, but it seems like it's just going to be kind of a back and forth brawl with an over-under at 43.5. So good luck. This is the other 2:30 game, so obviously you know where I'll be at 2:30, but I hope it all goes well for Michigan State. And yeah, that's the video. That's the preview for the week. I hope you have a little bit more insight on some decent games to watch, at least in the Big 12. Like I said, the big game of the week is going to be Michigan and Texas, so that might be big noon kickoff. I'm not sure, but either way, I hope whatever you watch this weekend, you have a great time, and we'll see how it goes. It's always an exciting time watching college football. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you all soon.